So this is our part 2 of our little quad review. Remember, there's not going to be anything on your final that says this exact thing. But it might allude to, given these, which equation is matching or something like that. So you have to know how to find the things that the questions are asking you for, okay? So if I look at, let's just do 15 together. I'm going to draw a quick little picture with 15. The only thing I'm going to draw are the intercepts. I have an intercept here at -1, 0, and then I have one at 3, 0, right? 1, 2, 3. You guys agree with me? All right, so you could draw 2 parabolas through these points, a positive one and a negative one. What you need to do is, the way that you need to work backwards is what we're going to do. Do you guys agree with me that if I said to you, what are the zeros of this parabola? You would tell me they're at x equals what? -1. And at x equals +3, correct? So if I was going to write the equation of a parabola given these 2 zeros, we're working backwards. One step before x equals -1 would be your binomial. What would my binomial look like if I knew that my x value was -1? How would I write that as a binomial? X plus 1, right?
X plus 1.
Good. We'd move this back. So x plus 1. We'd move this back, and we get x minus 3. Agreed? Now, if I'm trying to write an equation in standard form, and I have 2 binomials, what would I do with these 2 binomials that I have written here? I would FOIL them. Right? So if I work backwards, x times x is x squared. X times -3 is -3x.
3x.
1 times x is positive x. And 1 times -3 is
-3.
-3 equals 0. Now we're going to clean this up. X squared minus what?
2x.
2x, good. Minus 3 equals 0. That's how given the intercepts, you work backwards to find your equation. Does that?
But the question
Saying that a negative sign out in front, right? This is my positive.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if I wanted to make this a negative parabola, do you guys agree I could just do this?
Yeah.
And it would become -x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. That's my negative.
Oh.
A question that says, given the intercepts, write the equation, that's not on your final. There's not a specific question that just says that. I just want you guys to be aware of how to go from a given intercept to the equation, how we got to that point. Because if they give you intercepts and they ask you what's the range, you have to be able to write the quadratic function given the intercepts, and then you got to figure out what the minimum and maximum value is, and then you got to find the range. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to find everything given, and then you can figure out exactly what you need to focus on given the question that's asked. There's not going to be any questions on your final that says, here's a quadratic, find vertex, axis of symmetry, domain, range. It might just give you an equation in vertex form and say, write the equation in standard form and find the domain. So you have to know how to switch from one to another, which is what brings me to this question. I'm going to do 19 with you. It says, write the quadratic in standard form. Guys, what is standard form? What does that look like for a quadratic?
X squared. Well, it's a.
Isn't it like x squared minus h squared?
No, that's the vertex form. It's going to be ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. All right, yesterday, do you guys remember how we found, given the picture, we found our equation in vertex form? Remember that? All right, that's what we have to do here. We have to find the equation of the parabola first in vertex form and then work it out. Our vertex form is this: y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. My h and my k is my what?
No, sorry.
I know what you mean. Your vertex, right? So in this case, what is my vertex right here? Good. -1, -2. So -1, -2. That's my h. That's my k. Now, yesterday, guys, how did we find the A? Because I can't tell from here what A is. How do I find my A? What did we do yesterday?
Oh,
We picked a point, right?
we picked a point of bracket.
Okay, I picked a point on a parabola. You could use this point. You could use this one. You could use this one. You could use this one. Doesn't matter. Any of the points that are on the parabola will work. So which one do you guys want to use?
1, 0.
All right, so we'll pick the point 1, 0. Is that a good point to pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that an easy point to pick?
Yeah.
Yes, I would pick anything that has a 0 to make my life easier. So now let's just plug in. The y value that I'm going to use is 0 equals, we don't know what A is, that's what we're trying to find. What's the x value that we chose? 1.
1.
Minus our h, so minus -1 squared plus k, so plus -2, so -2. Okay, so this obviously is going to become a positive, right? You guys with me? Okay, so what is 1 plus 1?
2.
2, and 2 squared is?
4.
So I have 4a minus 2. Everybody with me?
Yes.
So now what do I do?
Add 2 to both sides.
I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I get 4a equals 2, excuse me, and then what? Divide by 4.
4.
So I get a equals 1/2. Radicals are worse. You are correct. Okay, so we're trying to get here. All right, our goal is to get here. We are not there yet. We're at the vertex stage. So write this in vertex form. Y equals, my vertex form is right here. So what's my A value?
Your A value is a half.
1/2 times x minus a -1. So it's what? Plus 1, right? Squared. And then what?
And then a plus, no, sorry, minus.
Minus 2. All right, this is my vertex form. But I don't want it in vertex form. I want it in standard form. What do you guys think I have to do from this point?
Just do a plug.
We're going to do what?
A plug in.
There's nothing to plug in. What do we have to do here? We have to algebraically work it out. What does x plus 1 quantity squared mean?
That you foil it.
That we foil it. So we're going to take care of the foiling first, guys. Foil first. What's x times x?
X times x is x squared.
X squared. Then I have x times 1.
Which is x.
And then I have x times 1.
Then x.
So that gives me how many x's?
2 x's.
And then I have 1 times 1 is
1.
minus 2. Now what do I do first? Here.
Distribute the 1/2.
Distribute the 1/2. Good. So 1/2 times x squared is 1/2. What?
1/2
X squared. What's 1/2 times 2x?
X.
So plus x. Then what's 1/2 times 1?
1/2.
Plus 1/2. And then I have minus 2. What's another way I could write the whole number 2 if I wanted to write it as a denominator of 2?
4/2.
Can I write this like this? 4/2? So your equation is 1/2 x squared plus x, then what? Minus 3/2. That's it. Think about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this equation right here. 1/2 is going to make your graph a little wider, right? What is this? What's the constant? Your y-intercept. Let's look at our graph. I'm looking for a parabola. Excuse me. Is it positive or negative? It's positive, right? It's going to be a little wider than usual. And where should it cross the y-intercept? Negative 3/2. So let's look at our graph here. It's a little wider. It looks a little wider. Where does it cross the y-intercept, guys? Right there? What is that point right there? It's between -1 and -2. Would you guys agree with me that's probably -3/2? So if you need to match something with, you need to understand how to identify those different parts. If they gave you this equation, just like this, and they said write it in standard form, you need to know that you're not just picking points out of the parabola and graphing it. If they give you an equation in vertex form and you have to write it in standard form, that means you have to FOIL first. And then do what? Multiply or add and subtract? You multiply, you got to follow your order of operations, and then add or subtract. Miss Bragg, what's your question? It is. Like, this is just quadratics. This was, we did, this was 1 or 2 sections from way back. This is also stuff that you did in Algebra 2.
Right,
So your test is going to be just quadratic stuff, like how to find domain and range, how to find the vertex, how to find that sort of stuff, and then the stuff from hyperbolas.
so can you give us like a chapter lesson, like 2.1 to 2.3, and then the hyperbolas? Do you have that information?
Yeah, hang on one second.